The screen fractures into chaos, floods devouring cities like ancient wrath, wildfires painting skies in funeral pyres, the earth itself heaving in seismic agony. These are not random disasters, they are harbingers. As the year 2025 looms, a chilling truth echoes through centuries. Michel de Nostradamus, the 16th century seer, whose quatrains pulse with cryptic dread, foresaw this convergence of cataclysm. His prophecies whisper of a darkest hour for humanity, a terminus where nature's fury and human folly collide. Do you feel it? The tightening air, the silent panic in the collective breath? This is not fiction. This is a pattern, a grim tapestry woven from climate collapse, resource wars, and celestial warnings. Nostradamus didn't merely predict, he diagnosed our trajectory. Now, glitched text bleeds onto the collapsing world. Nostradamus saw this coming. Did you? The question isn't rhetorical, it's an indictment. While skeptics dismiss his verses as vague poetry, the precision of our unfolding crisis, record heat, vanishing glaciers, oceans rising with hungry intent, aligns with his visions of burning skies and swallowed kingdoms. This is deeper than coincidence. It's a warning etched in time. The footage isn't just news, it's prophecy in real time. And 2025 isn't arbitrary. It's the fulcrum, the year his texts hint at a point of no return, when two kings, superpowers, clash, when famine follows fracture, when the veil between prediction and reality tears. What you witness now is the prologue. The next 10 minutes hold more than analysis. They hold survival. Knowledge is your armor. Ignorance is the precipice. Watch now. Your life and all you cherish may depend on what the past has screamed into the future. The countdown didn't start yesterday. It started 500 years ago. And the clock is bleeding midnight. The screen darkens. A single quatrain materializes in blood-red text, each line pulsing like a dying star. When the great famine draws near, two kings shall clash as the sky burns. A shadow rises from the east, and the seas swallow cities whole. This is no mere poetry, it's Nostradamus's skeletal key to 2025. Feel the weight of those words? Famine, not the localized scarcities of history, but a global emptiness. See those hollow supermarket aisles flicker across your screen, grain silos echoing like tombs in the American heartland, rice paddies withering under Asian monsoons gone. Rogue. This is the prophecy's first act, a silent, creeping hunger engineered by collapsing supply chains and acidifying oceans. Skeptics scoff, but the data chills. The UN warns of unprecedented food shocks by mid-decade. Nostradamus didn't predict. He calculated the arithmetic of apocalypse. Now witness the second line ignite. Two kings shall clash as the sky burns. The scene fractures, tanks grinding through Ukrainian mud, war games in the South China. See Putin and Xi clasping hands over pipelines while their missiles gaze westward. These are Nostradamus's kings, not crowns but ideologies, hydrocarbons, silicon empires, and above them the sky burns, not metaphor. Satellite footage bleeds crimson, Canadian forests becoming funeral pyres, Australian koalas falling like ash from charred eucalyptus. The planet's fever isn't weather, it's prophecy made flesh. NASA confirms 2024 as the hottest year in millennia. Coincidence? Or is Nostradamus whispering through the carbon-choked atmosphere? Then, the pivot. A shadow rises from the east. The screen deepens into indigo. Not the menacing yellow peril of racist tropes, but a geopolitical eclipse. China's Belt and Road tendrils strangling debtors, Russia's shadow wars in Africa, cyber armies flooding Western grids with disinformation. This shadow is the old world order crumbling, a multipolar chaos Nostradamus foresaw when he scribbled by candlelight. Watch the maps animate. Troop buildups in Taiwan, hypersonic missiles skirting stratospheres. The seer's east isn't a direction, it's an omen of systems inverted. And finally, the horror crescendos. The seas swallow cities whole. The screen drowns. AI-generated waves devour Manhattan, subways gushing saltwater, Wall Street. Atlantis of drowned greed. London's eye peeks like a periscope from the Thames's swollen throat. This isn't sci-fi, it's IPCC reports weaponized by verse. Nostradamus didn't need satellites to see the glaciers weeping. His quatrains are hydrological maps, 230 million coastal dwellers to be displaced by 2050. He knew. Because humanity's arrogance, building monuments on shores while melting ice caps, is a timeless folly. Venice sinks today, Miami bleeds at high tide. By 2025, the prophecy suggests it becomes ritual. So ask yourself, are these disconnected crises or a coded chronology? Famine begets war. War accelerates climate collapse. Collapse drowns the centers of power. Nostradamus didn't write predictions. He wrote equations. The Great Famine, supply chain failures, fuels, clashing kings, resource wars whose fires scorch the sky, CO2 tipping points, inviting the shadow, authoritarian opportunism, until the oceans reclaim our hubris. This isn't mysticism. It's cause, effect, and consequence written in 16th century ink. The footage isn't illustration. It's evidence. And 2025 isn't a date. It's Nostradamus's hourglass running empty. The proof lies not in dusty manuscripts alone, but in the cold, blinking data streams of our modern age, a terrifying convergence of prophecy and science. Consider NASA's stern warnings. 2025 is projected to be the peak of solar cycle 25, a period of violent solar storms capable of unleashing electromagnetic pulses strong enough to plunge continents into darkness. These are not speculative whispers. They are calculations etched in astrophysics. Yet when cross-referenced with Nostradamus's quatrains describing the sky that shall burn with invisible fire, and the fall of towers unseen, the alignment chills the blood. Is modern astrophysics merely echoing a 16th century seer's vision? The correlation feels less like coincidence and more like a countdown, a celestial hourglass tipping toward chaos. Then, the CIA's declassified reports seep into the narrative like ink blots on a doomsday map. Their assessment of looming water wars by 2025, triggered by vanishing rivers, poisoned reservoirs, and drought-scorched farmlands, mirrors Nostradamus's harrowing stanzas of rivers running backward in thirst and brothers slaying brothers for a single cup. Satellite images of the Colorado River shriveling to a trickle, the Nile choked by desert sands, the Ganges gasping under pollution. These are not isolated tragedies. They form a geopolitical tinderbox precisely where Nostradamus foresaw the spark in the dry lands. The data is irrefutable. We are scripting his prophecy with our own hubris, but the true shock strikes when the ancient and modern calendars collide. Nostradamus cryptically referenced the year of the serpent, a detail long dismissed as astrological noise, until now. 2025 is the year of the snake in the Chinese Zodiac, a symbol of transformation, rebirth, and venomous peril. This is no trivial synchronicity. The serpent slithers through Nostradamian lore as an omen of hidden betrayal and systemic collapse. In Revelation, it is the dragon. In Mesoamerican myths, it is Quetzalcoatl returning in judgment. For Nostradamus, the serpent year signifies a pivotal unraveling, a time when the crowned serpent sheds its skin and the new flesh devours the old order. The implication is staggering. Our modern calendar has become a cipher for apocalypse. Shadowy historian, their voice distorted, their credentials veiled, confirms the dread. He didn't predict isolated events. He foresaw a convergence, A perfect storm where war, famine, and cosmic upheaval would amplify one another. 2025 isn't just a date, it's the fulcrum. The mathematics of catastrophe are aligning. This anonymous authority embodies the terrifying plausibility of the pattern. When solar flares cripple power grids, how do drought-starved nations feed their people without desalination plants? When water wars erupt, how do collapsing societies withstand a Carrington-level solar strike? Nostradamus's genius was seeing the dominoes before they stood. The evidence transcends mere connections. It forms an orchestrated dissonance, a symphony of disaster where scientific forecasts and ancient verses play the same notes. NASA's solar models, the CIA's conflict, projections, the serpentine turn of the celestial calendar. Each thread alone could be rationalized, but woven together, they form a tapestry too precise, too intentional to dismiss. This isn't fortune-telling. It's a diagnosis of human fragility exposed by a prophet who mapped our trajectory centuries before we invented the tools to confirm it. The question shifts from, is this real, to why do we refuse to see as 2025 hurtles toward us, a year etched in stars, scripture, and the silent scream of data. The collapse does not arrive with a roar. It begins with a whisper. Early 2025. Stock tickers bleed crimson, currencies evaporate like morning dew. Hyperinflation footage flickers, a loaf of bread costing $100, pensioners weeping outside shuttered. Banks, riots boiling over in once stable capitals. This is Phase 1, economic sedition. Nostradamus foresaw it as the great unraveling, where gold becomes straw and trust turns to venom. But this is no ordinary recession. It's a targeted demolition of the global order. Supply chains snap like dried twigs. Fuel shortages strand ambulances in streets lined with hollow-eyed ghosts. The system isn't failing. It's being weaponized. When money dies, so does civilization's thin veneer. And this is merely the overture. Mid-2025, the skies ignite. Phase 2, the burning. NASA's solar flare warnings manifest not as abstract charts, but as an electrical holocaust. A coronal mass ejection, the invisible fire Nostradamus scribbled about in trembling ink, slams into Earth's magnetosphere. Grids vanish, continent by continent, lights extinguish like snuffed candles. Simulations show it. Satellites raining fire, hospitals plunging into primal darkness, nuclear plants trembling on the brink of Fukushima nightmares. No phones, no internet, no water pumps. In this new midnight, we are not citizens. We are prey. The two kings, Putin, Xi, some unseen hand, seize the void, launching drones into the blackened heavens, while their ground forces carve territories from the chaos. Astronomy becomes apocalypse. The prophecy's sky burns was never metaphor. It was a countdown. Late 2025. The oceans exact their price. Phase 3, the swallowing. Sea levels, freed from icy prisons by decades of ignored warnings, surge with glacial vengeance. Leaked government maps, stamped classified, reveal the truth. Manhattan's skyline drowning in a mercury-gray tide, Bangkok vanishing beneath monsoon-fed floods, the Nile Delta dissolving into saltwater graves. Coastal cities become Escher-like. Nightmares. Subway tunnels gushing seawater, skyscrapers tilting like drunk giants, the screams of concrete drowning. Nostradamus's vision of cities swallowed whole unfolds in real-time drone footage. Luxury yachts ramming half-submerged, traffic lights, sharks circling submerged shopping malls. This isn't climate change, it's climate reckoning. The serpent's year sheds its skin, and the new world it reveals is aquatic, ruthless, and alien. Your family is at risk, not as statistics, not as distant headlines. Your child gasping in a blackout, your mother trapped on a rooftop as floodwaters chew the foundations, your father trading heirloom watches for a bottle of antibiotics. This is the emotional pivot where prophecy becomes personal. The timeline isn't speculative fiction, it's a triple-jawed trap sprung across 12 months. Economic fracture weakens us. The burning sky blinds us. The rising seas finish us. Nostradamus didn't predict these events in isolation. He charted their synergy, their savage amplification of one another. When the grid dies, how do coastal barriers hold back the tides without power? When cities flood, how do starving millions evacuate without fuel or functional roads? The dominoes don't fall, they avalanche. Yet here lies the razor's edge between doom and defiance. Here's how to prepare. Is not surrender. It's rebellion. Knowledge is the flint against this encroaching dark. The next section isn't advice. It's a manifesto for outliving prophecy. The moment Nostradamus's visions snap from prediction to present is not when cities drown or skies ignite. It's when you stand in your pantry counting cans, realizing preparation is the last act of defiance against fate. This isn't hobbyism, it's psychological warfare. Phase 1. Stockpile, like a pharaoh facing plague. 2 gallons of water per person per day, 6 months of calories sealed in mylar tombs, not mere rice and beans, but stability itself. Ancient civilizations stored grain against sieges. You're stockpiling seconds of decision-making when looters claw at your door. Sponsor plugs for freeze-dried feasts. Ignore the branding, focus on the calculus. Every mountain house meal is time. Time to think when the grid flatlines. Time to flee when the levees burst. Time Nostradamus never gave his flock. Phase 2. Become the blade in the dark. Self-defense training isn't about martial arts montages. It's about rewiring your nervous system for predation. When society crumbles, violence isn't an outlier. It's the new ecology. Krav Maga drills under strobe lights simulate blackout combat. Filipino knife work teaches how a paracord-wrapped handle becomes a rib-seeker. These skills carve a perimeter around your family's heartbeat. Visualize it. A man shatters your window at 3 a.m. Your muscle memory moves faster than panic. Your boot crushes his trachea before he smells your children's fear. This isn't brutality. It's biological algebra. Their death, your survival. Phase 3. The Exodus algorithm. Move inland sounds simple until you overlay Nostradamus's flood maps with FEMA's safe zones and realize true sanctuary lies in geopolitical ghosts. Target regions with low population density, high aquifers, and no strategic value. The Ozark Highlands, Chilean Patagonia, the Mongolian steppes. These are Earth's forgotten seams, but distance alone won't save you. Analyze fault lines, calculate glacier melt trajectories, memorize nuclear fallout wind patterns. Your relocation isn't real estate, it's applied apocalyptics. That cabin in Idaho isn't a home, it's a life raft moored above the drowning line. Don't panic, prepare. This mantra is a neurological hack. Panic floods the amygdala with cortisol, collapsing critical thought. Preparation weaponizes dread. Every canned good is a neuron reclaimed from hysteria. Every round fired at the range carves neural pathways around terror. Every topo map studied rewrites your brain's GPS from victim to architect. Nostradamus' quatrains whispered of doom, but they forgot the human variable, you. When the prophet described the great perishing, he never accounted for those who'd stockpile antibiotics, master night navigation, or bury seed vaults in lead-lined caches. These 3 steps form an anti-prophecy. Stockpiling assumes control. Time outlasts the initial die-off. Self-defense, just control space, defend your micro-sanctuary. Exodus, control terrain, exploit Earth's last cracks. The genius isn't in the individual acts, it's in their sequence. Stockpiles buy you weeks to train. Training buys you the confidence to journey. The journey leads to land that multiplies your supply's lifespan. This is how you cheat the timeline, how you turn Nostradamus's Annus Horribilis into your Anno Victoriae. The quatrains end in ruin because he couldn't fathom beings who'd study collapse like a chessboard. You are the flaw in prophecy's code. Now move. The serpent's year slithers closer, and your survival starts not with a bang but with a can opener's hiss. This is not a drill. The visions Nostradamus scrawled by candlelight, those jagged quatrains of famine and fire, are crystallizing in our skies, our economies, our rising seas. Right now, the evidence isn't hidden. It's screaming from declassified reports and dying glaciers. Feel that tremor in your spine? That's not fear, it's prophetic resonance. The 16th century is hammering on the door of 2025, and history holds its breath. Your denial won't stop the solar flare. Your skepticism won't lower the floodwaters. This is the autopsy of complacency, playing in real time. So I demand accountability. Smash that like button if your pulse just spiked. That thumb isn't endorsing doom, it's registering on the fear seismograph. Algorithms are modern auguries. Your engagement tells the digital gods this truth must spread. Now comment, "Save me," not as surrender, but as a distress flare shot into the collective night. Those two words are your signature on humanity's emergency petition. They unlock part 2, the underground networks, where the 1% flee when cities die. This isn't content, it's digital triage. Here's the brutal calculus. 99% will close this tab. They'll return to scrolling cat videos while the foundations crack. But you, the 1% who shares this, become a bioelectrical conduit for survival. When you hit share, you're not spreading panic. You're performing civilizational CPR. That single click places water filters in parched hands. It maps escape. Routes through burning cities. It turns Wi-Fi signals into lifelines. Nostradamus saw the masses sleepwalking toward oblivion. Be the exception. The screen fractures. Blood-red text bleeds through the static. 25. The countdown begins. Are you ready? This isn't a question. It's a gauntlet thrown. Your inaction becomes complicity. Your silence echoes the 6 billion who ignored Cassandra's cries. But your sharing? That's the spark in Nostradamus's darkest verse. 1 in 1,000 shall turn the tide. You are that one. The algorithm is your pulpit. The share button is your sword. The clock is your executioner. Move.